Let me first just check that all systems are doing well first. Yeah, because this is the first time we are setting up and running everything on our own. Yes, alright, I think everything should be going swimmingly, thankfully. Just give me a minute and also give people time to slowly stream in lah, huh? And also this is also a new mic setup. I hope the audio is okay for everyone. If it's not, right, please let us know in the chat. Let's see. Okay, this. Okay, awesome. I think we can get started lah. Yes. Right, let's get started. Okay. One of the feedback the last session, right, was that it was very draggy lah. Huh? I know lah, a bit lost all. So today I'm going to go like straight to the point and everything, and of course if you guys have more inquiries, more questions, feel free to reach out to us like you've always done, and we will have we'll be happy to elaborate, yeah, on some of the points, right? Let's move straight to our slides. Okay, so no property news for today because nothing much exciting has happened over the last month or so. So we're just going to go and move right down to it, okay? Our honest review and rankings of the CCR new launches. We did District 10 last month, and so today's session we are doing District 9 and District 11. Okay. We first start off with District 9, right? An overview of District 9 and what constitutes District 9, okay? So District 9 includes River Valley, Orchard Road, of which we have Cane Hill, Patterson, and stretching all the way to the Sophia site, right? With Sophia being quite a fair bit further away. So District 9, if you look at it in terms of the shape, it's very flat and very long, right? Because on the north-south part, right, it's not very long, but if you go to the east-west part, it's actually stretching quite a fair bit, right, all the way from River Valley to Mount Sophia lah. And part of the reasons why District 9 is popular, okay, and District 9, even though it's right smack beside District 10, the reasons why people buy into District 9 and District 10 actually do vary a little bit, right? With District 9 being primarily more lifestyle purchase because, of course, we have River Valley over there. District 9 also, it's traditionally a little bit more investment centric because it's also near to Orchard Road and also in River Valley with where it's extremely popular with expats lah. And another thing would be also traditionally that when the foreigners first come into Singapore district, they do start with District 9, and later on you will also notice the percentage mix of Singaporeans and foreigners being quite different in District 9 as compared to District 10, right? Of course then, but there's still the district, the prestige factor, considering that it is after all the core central region, and it's also after all we have the most recognizable areas in Singapore: Cane Hill, Orchard Road, River Valley, Patterson, Leonie. There is definitely a prestige factor to say you stay across the road from Ion. You stay right behind Takashimaya, 4 minutes walk you can reach Takashimaya, right? There's always that prestige factor, that hao lian show off factor to it lah, huh? But one of the things about District 9, and perhaps in another way to explain the different demographics associated with District 9 would be the fact that there's not as many good schools over there as if you compare with District 10 and District 11. Okay, and perhaps that's also one of the reasons why you do not see as high a percentage of buyers buying in local buyers, right? In an average makeup of the demographical split within a particular development. Okay, and now let's analyze the price trends within District 9. Okay, and so we have the new launch price trends in orange and the resale price trends in blue. And the figures, in the growth rate figures, right, in the last 5 years, with new launch prices moving up 37%, resale prices moving up 17% on average. Okay, pretty decent. But one thing you do note over here, one thing that has come to my attention when I look at this, would be if you look at the other districts, in the recent times, you would see that the resale, and if you look at later on, I will share with you a little bit. If you look at District 10 and District 11, you do see resale following the new launch trajectory upwards a little bit, but it's something that we do not quite see over in District 9. Okay, so perhaps later on we'll talk about some of the reasons, right? Not the main topic for today, but it's something interesting to think about lah, because let's say you want to buy into a new launch in District 9, yeah, and the new launch prices have picked up quite a fair bit since 2020. Would it be a concern seeing that the resale prices haven't really been moving? Okay, next up. Erase, and we go. Let's see if I can just do this. Okay, so now if we do stretch it out over a 10-year period, okay, then you would see the resale and the new launch price trends not really moving hand in hand. A little bit more obvious lah. Right, you do also notice that the growth over here, it's 18% for the resale and 9% for the new launch. Okay, so now this is an interesting one, the 9% for the new launches. Why is it so? Right, very, very interesting, because for most of the other areas, the new most of the time will beat up the resale lah. Right, the new will definitely beat up the resale. But why? Because you see at the pre-cooling measures period, right, District 9 was the hottest district in Singapore already, and we have had a lot of launches over there. Most recently, right, I chanced upon the Scott's Tower. We've always knew the Scott's Tower as being this super expensive, ultra lux, ultra premium development. But it didn't occur to me how crazy the prices were over there when the buyers bought in 2013. I'm not sure if anybody is in the chat, but you want to make a guess how much a 1+ study, how much somebody bought a 1+ study in the Scott's Tower in 2013? I got a shock when I saw it, right? It was $3 million. $3 million, 99-year leasehold, 1+ study, walking distance to Google Park. I also not say very walking distance, 5 minutes walking distance Google Park. Market valuations today are about $1.6 to $1.8 million. So the prices were very, very frothed up, I would say, pre-2013. And so the District 9 suffered a long, I would say, cooling measures hangover, for the lack of a better word. And like how I mentioned the last time in my video about the CCR comeback, a lot of them were then stuck with, both developers and also buyers stuck with having entered at high prices, factoring in stuff at very, very high prices, don't really want to cut loss. Those that did, but albeit not many, would have pulled prices down this way, because while prices have remained somewhat lackluster, somewhat very slow in terms of its increase, it is not reflective of the volume. Okay, so we don't know how many were sold during that period. Actually, during this period, before 2018, there was very, very little new launch supply over there. So that kind of explains why we have this very interesting 9%, so average growth rate of the new launches within the District 9 area being a lot lesser than the average growth rate of the resale properties. Very interesting case study. But do note now, when they say average new launch PSF, it just means how much the developers are selling at, okay? Do note that that does not equate to the growth potential of somebody buying into the new launch, because they would then be buying over here and selling here, because when they sell, they are classified under a resale transaction already. Alright? Moving on. Trying not to be too draggy. And watching the time closely, Elizabeth timing me very, very closely. And anyway, I think the camera will run out of battery also. Okay, now moving on to District 11. Okay, so District 11, smaller as well, District 10 being the biggest out of the entire CCR area. District 11 also quite small, Wharton Estate, Newton Novena, and Thomson. So Newton Novena would be where Newton Circus is, as well as where the hospitals, Mount E, Tan Tock Seng, and then also Wharton Estate, primarily made up of landed properties. Okay, the apartments and whatnot mostly within the Novena, Newton, and Thomson area. So why is District 11 popular? I would say District 11 is just a sort of extension on District 10 lah. And so primarily status, the old rich especially. So the District 10 are where the landed properties are, and a lot of them then they just buy their second property, because District 10 used to be a lot of landed lah. Not so much apartments, right? Unless you go to the Bukit Timah road stretch. So a lot of the apartments were built in the District 11 Newton Novena area. So that's where there's still a lot of old rich and old money there. They have their main house over in Bukit Timah, and then they buy the second property in Newton Novena. So still there's a status aspect lah to staying in the District 11 area, especially if you look closer to the Wharton Estate, but maybe not so much, of course, if you compare Punggol and Newton Novena, it will be considered high-end and of course good status. But if you compare within the CCR area, District 11, Newton Novena area may not quite match up in terms of status prestige to District 10. District 9 depends, right? District 9, District 11 depends what you are looking for lah. District 11 people are there primarily for the schools as well, right? So it's more similar to District 10 as opposed to District 9, where District 9 more foreigners, more lifestyle purchases, more investment. District 10, District 11 more own stay. So District 11 last 5-year price trends. Some interesting observations over here would be the negative growth rate for resale properties. Again, having quite a lot of high-priced ones and which is why the trend it's basically flat for the resale market over there. That is because we have black holes for money over in the District 11, right? I term certain areas as black holes for money. Basically, a lot of the transactions there is lose money, negative sale one. And District 11, as well as bordering the District 9, if you look at the Scots area, Orchard Scots, the Scots Tower, that area, a lot of negative sale transactions. Cane Hill, that side also quite a fair bit. And in the District 11 also, if you go closer towards the Derbyshire area, there also have some negative transactions lah. And I see that's the reason why the resale transactions are somewhat level. But that's not to say developments there or you cannot make money if you go into District 9. District 11. There are case studies of very profitable transactions being done in District 11 as well. It's all about the quantum and it's all about the product that you buy into. Okay. As for the new ones, quite standard lah. Just continue to go up. Let's move on to the 10-year one. Maybe there's a little bit more things for us to derive from that one. Alright, so after you stretch out in the 10-year one, you do see the growth rate for resale being a little bit more reflective and being somewhat closer in terms of trend to the rest of the market. Right, so over here what I will see is that the resale one is then trending up in the same, slightly more similar trajectory to the new one, right, in line, as opposed to the District 9 one where the resale one is struggling to match up with the new launches. And if I go back, and since you guys have joined me today, I want to put things into perspective. The District 9 area is a sleepy area that not many of us do consider. But if you do have the budget, do go and take a look at Patterson and the Leonie area. I was very surprised the other day. I just went to scroll around. One of the viewers and listeners, actually they are our clients now, they actually did send me this listing. I think it's a freehold development in Patterson. PSF is 2004, thereabouts, freehold, 3-bedder. Not at a crazy, I mean it's not cheap, but 2,400 PSF. Again, today we have 2,400 PSF in Lentor, and this is Patterson, that is walking distance to Orchard MRT. Something really interesting, and if you're looking for value buys in the market today, this is something that you can consider, and that the data itself shows also, because the resale haven't quite caught up with the new launch prices. And if you ask me why, because people then will ask me why so, right? It comes down to I personally feel like the lack of local demand in that area. But if that gap continues to stretch, and if benchmark prices are continued to be set in the OCR, RCR, eventually people will come to realize like, hey, you know what, that makes so much sense, right? Schools aside, because yeah, it's definitely still going to be a group of people, a segment in the market that then doesn't really need the school anymore. And so with that, I think what most of you would also be interested to find out would be the price trends and the comparisons between how resale prices are moving in between District 9, District 10, District 11, the most popular areas within the CCR. Okay, so I think of course the most important number is over here with Okay, so notice this percentage is a bit different from the percentage this one it's last, I wanted to do last 10 years, but after that I checked, I was wondering, while preparing to go live, I was wondering like, why the numbers don't tally with the earlier 10-year chart? Then it's because I didn't put exactly to 10 years, I accidentally stopped at November 2013. So this is a 9-year chart, okay? So pardon me for that. So in the last 9 years, orange being District 9, okay? Orange District 9 right here, orange D9, okay? Then blue, it's D10. The middle one is D10. And the bottom one is D11. Okay, so D9 average growth rate 1%, D10 average growth rate 29%, and this is resale, okay? Resale. And the growth rate for D11 is quite nicely 11% for District 11. So now, what's the reasons behind it? There's a lot of things that we have to take a look at. So for today, it's really just for you guys to know, right? If the questions do come up, then of course we need to analyze the transactions, what has been transacted, the lows, why were they low, right? We want to look at why there's this drop over here when everything else is coming up, right? Because most people will be concerned that they buy at a peak. Right, today, does this represent this? That's a question. Is it going to come down? All right. So why this one then spike when everything else appeared level, or especially when 11 comes down? Very, very interesting small nuances in the trends over in, even though within the CCR, broken down into District 9, 10, 11, which is why I did that. You know, what makes why people like District 9, why people like District 10, why people like District 11 thing, for you to sort of explain and try to understand the intricacies involved even within the CCR. Right, moving on. If you have questions, feel free to put into the chat, okay? But I will only be able to answer that later on because there's a lot of things happening in the computer screen right now and I wouldn't be able to see the questions. Let's go. And so let's move on to the reviews proper, okay? We're gonna start with District 9, like the show, right? District 9 . And we are starting first with one of our favorites developments in District 9, Avenir, the former Pacific Mansion. So it's located in River Valley Close. So again, if you are watching us and if you're watching the replay, I'm going to assume that you guys already know about the development, which is why you're looking for a review of it. But don't worry, in case you don't know, I wouldn't spend all your time talking about the very minute details. Those you can scan the QR code in the next 2 to 3 slides and you can find that out, right? I just want to touch on the more important points. Tenet is a freehold development developed by two of Singapore's biggest guys, Hong Leong and Guoco Land, both also famous for high-end developments. It was launched in January 2020. In case you guys forgot, that is right smack before the COVID lockdown. Okay, and that kind of explains why Avenir sort of had a very slow start to life lah. And that time when everything else started to pick back up again, Avenir took a while to come back, and the people that went there to see at that point in time were very concerned, like, hey, why everything else is moving but Avenir is not moving? But you know what? Good value stuff don't last for long. Fundamentally strong projects don't remain unsold for long. Today, 89.36% sold, and we are maybe 3 years out from its launch. Also factoring in 1 year being basically taken up by COVID and everything. Expected TOP is Q3 2025, right? Because this is District 9 again, we said, right, District 9, not much of good schools within the area. The best school one of the best schools in District 9 really is already River Valley Primary School. That's within 1 km of Avenir, as a matter of fact, right beside Avenir. So like I said, I wouldn't be going into too much details on the project. That's not the topic for today. But if you need information on the project, how much do the units cost, land size, and all those stuff, just scan the QR code and you can pop into the website to take a look at it. So now let's talk about some of what I feel are the important information, right? 376 units. You guys know we are very, very sensitive to this kind of numbers. The breakdown of the units, okay? 69 one-bedders, 69 two-bedders. The two-bedders are of the size of 800 to 829 square feet. So now, maybe at this point, it's good for me to put things into perspective. The average two-bedders in that area used to be about 1,000 square feet. Okay, so Avenir, in terms of product mix, is following quite closely to Martin Modern. Product mix meaning how the unit sizes are done. Of course, Martin Modern doesn't have one-bedders, which is why actually the one-bedder over at Avenir, if you have a good enough budget, you like the area, you have a good enough holding period, it's something really worth considering because there's very little competition of similar fundamentals, big development, luxury development, large land size, large number of units, okay? 376, you may say like, not a lot, but in the River Valley area is considered very good. 3-bedders, 1141 square feet all the way up to 1572 square feet. Okay, so on the 3-bedder part, if at the 1141 square feet ones, it is still quite a fair bit smaller than the 3-bedders of old, right? The 3-bedders of old are closer to 1,005, 2,000, 1,008 to 2,000 square feet if you look at like Martin Place, if you look at Rivergate lah. The 4-bedder ones, the 4-bedder units are actually the interesting ones. Similarly to the 1-bedders, the 4-bedder supply in the area is very, very low. And even when it's low, the sizes are also very big. So I do see a gap over there in certain product offerings over at Avenir compared to the neighbors. And that is important because Avenir is not cheap, okay? 3,210 PSF is not cheap by any measure, okay? So you need to be able to visualize your exit, you need to be able to compare them well to the neighbors so that you wouldn't just eliminate it as being too expensive, okay? Buyer profile, okay, so this is what I was mentioning earlier on. So remember, for those of you who were with us in last month's live, in District 10, the development mix now is on average 70 plus to 80% Singaporeans, right? Over at Avenir, that percentage drops to 47.6% Singaporeans, and with the other half being 1/4 being PR and another quarter being foreigners. Now, how is this going to play out in terms of the price trajectory, the potential, the future for Avenir? Let's talk about it later on because I have this as one of the points as the 3 things we like and don't like, okay? Now moving on to the 3 things we like about, moving on to the 3 things we like and don't like about Avenir. So 3 things we like. Okay, so number 1, the size of the development. Now if you look at the River Valley area, so some people may say, hey, Alvin, River Valley area, there are quite a fair bit of numbers, developments that lose money. If you go and Google like loss-making transactions, top 10 loss-making transactions, River Valley is pretty well represented in those lists most of the time. But do bear in mind, large developments in River Valley, and I talk about large is in terms of land size and in terms of number of units. In River Valley, I would think above 200, above 300 units, I would classify them as large developments in River Valley one. Those developments always do well. It's like a surefire bet to do well in terms of capital appreciation potential over in the River Valley area, so, which is why that's something that I like. And also why they do well is because they are very, very rare. A lot of the especially freehold developments in River Valley, legacy plots, all last time used to be big plots, developer chop them up and sell them as small, small plots. So there are a lot of small boutique developments, developers that keep large plots to sell large plots being redeveloped, very, very little. Okay, so that is one, perhaps the single biggest reasons why we like Avenir for that. Number two, and so for number two, let me go into the H prop, or let me go into URA master plan to share a bit with you guys. So for a lot of us, we look at River Valley and we may be thinking, wow, it's really quite full. The area, like, not much space left to build new stuff. So now let me go over here, go to the master plan. Okay, so this is Avenir over here, right, with the land, with the plot ratio of 2.8. Okay, and so over here, this is the new Great Wall MRT. What a lot of people are unaware of is that there are empty plots around this Great Wall MRT that's yet to be sold. We have this one over here. Okay, so now, if you notice, this is sitting right on top of the Great Wall MRT, so it's likely to be sold as a, but this one is full residential but it's going to be super duper convenient, and the government again is extremely strategic in how they have planned for this. 3 plots, okay, I'm looking at this one over here, this one here, also future residential plot. 3.5 plot ratio, 3.5, Avenir is 2.8. So again, we have another 3.51 over here. So 3.5 is mixed use, ground floor, commercial, top floor, and whatever is above being residential. So these 3 plots is one of the reasons why I like Avenir so much. Okay, we have this huge 2.8 plot ratio development over here, and this will be Yong An Park. Okay, right, this one don't have, correct? Don't have, I remember. Yeah, just want to double check. So this is Yong An Park. And Yong An Park is super low density. But I don't know if they are going en bloc anytime soon, because I feel the owners there will find it hard to find a replacement unit of their kind of size. Their units are humongous. But again, it will be a matter of time before it goes en bloc as the entire development deteriorates. So eventually this is going to come up as well, and honestly that's just going to make Avenir as a plot look so much more attractive. Okay, and they are definitely going to set the new benchmark prices one. Definitely this, our friend over here, this 3.5 plot ratio, ground floor commercial, second floor residential one will be the price setter. If you want me to guess, the government will release the plot in this order. This one first, followed by this one, and then the last one will be this one. If I were to give the government, and I see how the government do it, that's what they do. They always launch the furthest away one first, the lousiest one first, then they launch the second one, and then the third one. This particular plot, another interesting thing, very narrow, and it's east-west, running down the east-west, maybe not east, like primarily it will be either east or west facing. So this plot will be quite interesting for developers to work with, but you know what, they're going to make it work. So this is why I do like the Avenir area in terms of there's actually quite a lot of empty plots there that's yet to be sold yet. The other point that I wanted to talk about is the strong resale support. So again, now we are swapping back again to the website. So what do I mean by that? Our neighbors, right, similar size big freehold developments are Rivergate and Martin Place. Right, they are decently sized. So over here, Rivergate, very, very popular development, 545 units, and we only have 14 units for sale. Okay, we see 3 bidders here fetching $4.5 million. Oh, I hope the camera is not dying. Okay, 3 bidders at 5,000 square feet. 5 million. 3 bidders, 4 million, you know, I believe quite a fair bit of these are duplicated. 4 bidders at 6 million. So it's nothing cheap over there. 4.5 million cheapest unit in Rivergate. Go over to Martin Place. Martin Place do have slightly smaller units, but I believe they are 1 bidder. It's their 1 bidder that is fetching 1.6 million, which is actually very similar in price points to some of our neighbors, or even within Avenir. Yeah, 2,700 PSF Avenir now because it's a little bit higher. 2 bidders at 3 million, yeah, which makes the entry prices of 800 square feet. So 800 square feet, 2 bidder, even if you come in at 3,000 PSF, that's 2.4 million. This guy over here is already 3 million because it's a 1,444 square feet 2 bidder. Okay, so you get what I mean. Now, next question would be, this kind of prices got people buy meh? Then we need to take a look at transactions lah. So you can see just in this year alone, 2022. Second half of the year alone, 2022, we already have 10 transactions over at Rivergate, and this is the kind of PSFs that they are fetching, and this is kind of quantums they are fetching. So you see healthy transactions like that with not many units for sale, you know the demand there is high. Okay, which is why the third reason why we like Avenir would be the strong resale support. Right, resale data support in that area telling us demand is strong. People are willing to pay for that area, and even though there's a lot of condos in that area, it's not oversupplied because the old supply is very, very big and the new supply is more affordable. In terms of quantum okay, yeah, later I say $2.4 million, $2.5 million 2-bedroom 3,000 PSF is affordable, and people flame me. Okay, 3 things why we don't like. Okay, so like just now what I said, for only 47%, only 50% of Singaporeans are owners over there. So why I put this as one of the reasons why we don't like. I've always said that a high percentage of Singaporeans within the development shows because Singaporeans are sort of vested to stay within the condo. They are not very flaky in terms of their staying power. That the high number of Singaporeans do tell me that prices will be a bit more stable in a development, and also because I took reference to like the sale, Marina Bay Residences, Reflections at Keppel Bay that had high number of foreigners, even Marina One high number of foreigners, causing prices to drop a fair bit. Pardon me as I try to link my thoughts together. But yeah, so now, it's then again a chicken and egg kind of thing, okay? So if you are a Singaporean moving inside, you can also see it as a quarter of my neighbors paying PRs assuming it's their first property, 5% ABSD. I have a quarter of my neighbors being foreigners. So regardless, they are paying 30% ABSD. So they are paying 1/3 of the price more than you. You enter 3,000 PSF, they enter 4,000 PSF. So of course, you may think that, but for me how I would think last time is that, but if they are like Malaysian, and if the ringgit continues on its trajectory like it is now, and becoming like 1 Sing dollar to let's say 4 or 5 ringgit, the guy doesn't really have to sell at a much higher price. He can even maybe sell lower than what he bought at, and still potentially make money from FX gains, FX differences. Or if let's say the macro economic circumstances change, they may choose to liquidate this and move to another country, then leaving you sort of high and dry with transactions then plunging. But why is it, to me, not going to be a deal breaker for Avenir? Is because if you analyze how Avenir units have been sold, they tell me that primarily the buyers at Avenir are buying for own stay. Why? Because the sales chart comes from top down. It's very, very interesting. Most developments, new launches, you go in, the sales chart go from bottom up, or maybe in the OCR, it goes like some on top, some below, some on top, some below. But on Avenir, it's very, very obvious people are buying from the highest floor down to the lowest floor. Now, are these folks investors? Do investors buy from the highest floor to the lowest floor? The answer is no lah. They really want to buy for their own stay. So on that note, perhaps the difference here between Avenir and let's say Reflections, Marina One, Marina Bay Residences, for example, maybe the fact that on that side, primarily the foreigners were buying it for investment. They may not have been staying there, but I feel for Avenir, they were buying for investment because of how they were choosing their units. Okay. Number two, what I perhaps don't quite like, and this is maybe on a more personal basis, not very convenient in terms of if you want to buy affordable food, if you want to buy, if you want to go to the supermarket also it's a bit of a walk, right? Most of them you would then have to drive. Of course, plenty of F&B options in Robertson Quay, but the kind of food that they serve in Robertson Quay is not what you and me eat every day lah. So yeah, amenities in the River Valley area not that fantastic. At least in the close proximity to Avenir. If you look a little bit bigger, you do have Great World City. You're not too far from Orchard Road, not too far from Somerset, thereabouts, right? Sorry. So point number 3 would be, like I mentioned, 3,200 PSF. Not going to be cheap. You're going to be the highest PSF setter in that area. So if you do have a short-term horizon, perhaps not the most fantastic option for you. But if you have a slightly longer holding period, we have that strong resale support to show you that people are willing to pay 2007, 2008, 2009 PSF for resale properties in that area already. So now even though you are 3,002, if you can still buy in at a quantum, right, that has already been hit in the resale market, then maybe it's not wrong, and it may be okay to buy it at the new benchmark pricing. Again, why do I say this? It's because let's say you go into the OCR and you buy in at benchmark pricing, because the products at the OCR are so similar. A 10-year condo, 3-bedroom, 1,000 square feet. A brand new condo, 3-bedroom, also 1,000 square feet. But you buy the new 3-bedroom, 1,000 square feet, paying at benchmark prices, let's say 2,500 PSF. You're going to face a lot of objections in the resale market, of course, other than age alone, right? Why should somebody be paying you so much more for your particular unit? Switch over here, for example, a 2-bedder, 800 square feet Avenir, let's say 3,200 PSF, 2.4, 2.5 million dollars, right? But the resale next door, Rivergate, 1,000 square feet, even though it's 2,700 PSF, 2,500 PSF, you know, almost the same price as you already, right? If they want to push a bit higher, then that's where you know you are not at so much of a disadvantage in this circumstance as compared to the example I mentioned earlier. All right? Moving on, right? Good pace. Irwell Hill Residences. Okay? So Irwell Hill, because it's a GLS, the tenure is 99 years. Developer is CDL. Launched in April 2021 and it was quite well sold, right? I believe it was 60% sold on launch day and have been continuing a very good trajectory of sales, good volume of sales. Today is 93.33% sold already with a TOP in 2026. Schools within 1 km, River Valley Primary and Alexandra Primary. Again, if you need further details about Irwell Hill Residences, just scan this QR code and you can go to the website. You have everything that you need over there. Some breakdown on the points within the development that matter to us. 540 units, right? Good number of units. How they are broken down: 104 one bidders, 334 two bidders, 66 three bidders, 35 four bidders, and only 1 6 bidder. I believe that's the penthouse. So over in Irwell, you could see the unit mix swing a little bit more towards the investment side, 1 bidders and 2 bidders, right? Not that many units in terms of the 4 and the 3 bidders. Quite interesting route for the developers to take, but it seemed to be doing well for them considering it's 93% sold. Average PSFs, right? Low end 2005, high end 3001, averaging out to 2800 PSF. 10%, right, about 10% lower than Avenir. Okay, percentage mix of Singaporeans. So this is where it gets a bit quite interesting. Okay, so over here at Avenir, Irwell, 3/4 of the buyers are Singaporeans. 16% PRs and only 8% foreigners. Yeah, so 3/4 Singaporeans. Now, why are Singaporeans buying into Irwell Hill? And so this is where we go on to next, right? The 3 things we like and don't quite like about Irwell Hill Residences. Okay, the 3 things we like. Number 1, the size of the development, right? Not just in terms of the number of units. Of course, the number of units is good, but if you haven't seen the development, do go and look at the landscaping. So they have adopted this new style of developing that developers have adopted for their condos, which is they build it up higher and they utilize a very low percentage of the entire footprint for the building. I believe for Irwell it's only 30 something percent, if I'm not wrong, giving you 70% of the footprint or of the land as landscaping, facilities and whatnot. So it helps to give that development a very airy feel, doesn't feel cramped. So I like it a lot, and it's especially important in the resale market because that is where people get their first impression. Okay, so one of the reasons why I feel also in the new age of products in the OCR will stand out a lot as compared to the old products in the CCR is for exact reasons like that lah. Right, the first impression that you go in, and I get this a lot, especially when I serve buyers. We can go and take a look at, like, you know, single story developments. No matter how cheap, they still won't want to buy. Yes, we will go and see because it's very cheap. But when they do eventually buy, they buy the one that they like, right? They buy the Martin Moderns, the ones that's nice and fancy. Okay. So why we like size of developments? Number 1, number of units, like why we have always explained in terms of volume of transactions. But on the second part over here, it helps it stand out. The size of the development over at Irwell helps it stand out amongst the competition in that area, and it is strong competition. There's quite a lot of units in that area, okay? Number 2 would be the MRT transformation potential GLS. So now what do I mean by this? Again, for this, we jump over to the URA master plan again. Okay, so now you don't have to go very far, just have to pop in over here, and this will be our friend Irwell here. Why isn't it not indicated? If I click here, Irwell Hill Residences. So now, nicely situated between 2 future MRTs, right? We have the future Orchard MRT that is going to serve the Thomson East Coast line. Thomson East Coast, right? Let me see. Yes, Thomson East Coast line. This one is of course linked to the main Orchard MRT, the original Orchard MRT. So it's going to come up all the way here. So with that, next time Irwell, you stay Irwell Hill, nice short walk down slope to over here. We have, this is basically Ion Orchard already. So very, very short walking distance to Ion Orchard. For those of you who like the whole MRT transformation story, right, smack between 2 future MRTs, there's Great Wall, which is a lot nearer. So this one actually, the side gate brings you very, very quickly. I think it's a 3 to 4 minute walk. You can hit Great Wall MRT, the entrance of Great Wall MRT already. So now what am I looking at on top of the whole MRT transformation thing? Would be the future land plots to sell. And this one quite cool. We have here a reserve site, this site right beside Irwell Hill, and you know what, it's going to be awkward for them to build anything else other than another residential property around here, but I guess the government's keeping their options open by classifying it first as a reserve site. Across the road here, also another reserve site, but of course this reserve site is going to be quite hard to build condo, it is so small. We have another resale site over here that is currently, I believe, the overseas school. Okay, so now the overseas school is going to go, and it's going to be replaced by 2 other residential plots over here with the 2.8 plot ratio one. So now we're going to have 2 more plots. This one already classified as residential that's going to be popping up over here. Then being closer to Orchard, they're going to set the new benchmark prices for sure. Again, right? Hopefully helping well look cheap lah. And then on top of the future Thomson East Coast Line Orchard MRT station has been classified 2 very, very plum plots, and some more 5.6 and 4.9 plot ratio. First level commercial, on top residential units. Oh, these 2, you can only imagine the price that's going to be set for these 2 plots. Again, right, government being strategic, my guess is sell these 2 first, sell this one, and then sell this one lah. So plenty of potential for people to pull up your prices for you. And Irwell also isn't too far from the previous 3 plots that I mentioned around Great Wall MRT. So just like that, you go and count already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 empty pieces of land surrounding Irwell Hill that can potentially help it pull up its price in the future. Okay? So back to that. Okay, number 3. Entry quantums and layouts. Right, so what do I mean by entry quantums? So you're going to be able to get at about the 1.8 million price point, 1.9 million price point right now, 2 bed, 2 baths over at Irwell Hill. You're not going to be able to get anything like that in that area per se. Okay, because if you go a bit further down to the Leonie side, they built them very big. If you go to the River Valley side, further down River Valley Road, closer towards the Jervois side, those are very small developments, mostly built in the 2010 eras with a lot of bay windows. Okay, so traditionally the units with the bay windows, perhaps the single most hated architectural feature in Singapore real estate are the bay windows, right? And it's also bay window units that have always the worst layouts lah. So for that, Irwell, if you look at Irwell as a development on its own, you may feel that it is very cookie cutter with the rest, and I would admit that, right? Which is why I'm not looking at like the layout and saying, oh gosh, this is a very nice layout compared to the rest. The answer is not. It's pretty cookie cutter, pretty standard. But if you compare to, I would say, the not so good layouts of their neighboring developments, it offers a very good value proposition, which then explains why we have 75% Singaporeans buying into it. Because these folks, when they buy, right, would they necessarily concerned that it's a 99 in a primarily freehold area? I'm pretty sure they were. Would they have been concerned that they feel that they are buying in at a high PSF for the area? I'm pretty sure they would. They would have done their homework, but why they still choose it? Because I think they know that the products in the surrounding areas just weren't exactly fantastic lah, for lack of a better word. So 3 things we don't like about Irwell Hill Residences. So number 1, like I mentioned earlier, I think this number 1 and number 2 sort of hand in hand. So number 2, it's the supply in the area. So you're surrounded by tons of condos. You look at it, zoom out from the master plan, it's all the same color one, so it's all residential in that area. So it's naturally you would be concerned with the oversupply. Okay, and in the resale market, so this one a bit different already, even though it seems like it's very near to Avenir. So for here, if you go in and see resale in the area, you're going to see quite a fair bit of supply. So, but like I mentioned earlier, on the point of it being stand out in terms of its large development size, in terms of its layout and quantum, I don't believe the oversupply in the area will be an absolute deal breaker for you, because you will be quite a fair bit better than your neighbors. Next, right, then back to point 1, the lackluster performance in Leonie. The echo need to be lower. Oh, is it a little echoey? Let me try to edit the echo. I'm not quite sure how to edit the echo. Yeah, I hope it's not too echoey for everyone. But yes, okay. Coming back to this, yeah. So the Leonie side again, somehow or other seems like somewhat of a black hole for money. A lot of loss-making transactions over there. Then it somewhat feels like Irwell is situated in the middle of 2 black holes for money. Another area being down the River Valley stretch, where Spice is, also a lot of loss-making transactions. So you will naturally be concerned, wow, so many loss-making transactions around, am I going to be the next one? So why I feel this probably would be a bit different, it's because those projects, those loss-making transactions, a lot of them were bought before 2013. Okay, a lot of them were bought before 2013, where it was the previous high watermark era. A lot of them probably sick and tired of holding already, which is why then they cut their losses around there. I say that more so for the River Valley side. And for the Leonie side, again, I think the prices were speculated to too high a point pre-2013, and so now it's being brought back to earth. So while I analyze Irwell Hill in terms of its fundamentals and in terms of where we are in the market at this point in time, I don't think it's speculative in nature. if you compare across the board in terms of entry prices, it is not way and above fundamentals, way above everything else. So I think not going to be a deal breaker over here, but you're still going to have to understand and break down this relative performance in the area to get across this hurdle lah. Okay. Number 3 would be the traffic noise. Of course, it's basic. It's surrounded by roads lah, so to speak. We have River Valley Road down one side, we have Irwell Bank Road down the other side, and Grange Road on the another side. So Grange Road maybe not so high traffic, but Irwell Bank Road, because it leads into Kim Seng, that side, Great World City side, right? Can be quite high in terms of traffic lah. So something to consider. But of course, if you're looking to buy it now, there's only high level units left. So that probably wouldn't be too big of a concern for you lah. I think primarily people want to buy into the area is also because of its close proximity to Orchard and also to Great World City. So now, why doesn't the 99? So why didn't we put like 99 in freehold as one of the things we don't like over here? Is like I've mentioned before, I feel in terms of the product, it's very, very different from all the freehold in that area, and so the freehold in that area wouldn't really impact or hinder the performance over at Irwell Hill being a 99 development too much. And also because we have Martin Modern to thank as sort of a pioneer in debunking this myth of 99ers in freehold not being able to do well. Okay? Bonus time. So you can't really talk about Avenir, Irwell without talking about Riviere. Even though Riviere is District 9. Is it? Let me just confirm this. Why I say? Okay, maybe let me explain this lah. Riviere is not technically in the CCR, right? It is considered an RCR property, right? And so I say this as a bonus is because if you go on that classification, we shouldn't talk about it lah. Okay. Let me just double check. But in terms of district, it's District 3, which is why it's the same line lah. The District 3 and the CCR line, that is the same line. It's like sitting on the line basically. But yeah, for most of the people that are looking to purchase a unit in that area will definitely consider Riviere as well as part of the consideration. Location wise, for those that are my age, it will not be too foreign the area. I'm pretty sure all of us know the road Jack Kim Street, okay? It's where Zouk used to be, it's where a lot of us grew up lah, which is why I put that nostalgic photo over here. Developed by Frasers, okay, one of our favorite developers. Tenure being 99 years, it was launched in May 2019. Again, having a very slow start to life, but having another late bloomer, so to speak, with 85% sold till date. So for Riviere, it has the earliest TOP as compared to the rest of the developments. Like I mentioned earlier, the people can expect to collect your key sometime next year already. Okay, within 1 km of River Valley Primary School. So if you need more details on Riviere, right, scan this QR code. So Riviere made up of 455 units with only 35 one-bedders, 140 two-bedders, 245 three-bedders, okay, and 35 four-bedders. Price point wise, we have entry prices of as low as 2,300. So 2,300, very, very close to your Landor Modern price. Is not even the highest price achieved in Landor Modern. All the way up to 3,000, 344, averaging out to 2,850 PSF. So over in Riviere, we have about 60% Singaporeans, 20% foreigners, 20% PRs, and 17% foreigners. So some in the middle in terms of the number of Singaporeans, the percentage Singaporeans buying into a development, with Irwell having the most, followed by Riviere, and at the end is Avenir. So now, the 3 things we like and don't like about Riviere, starting first with the 3 things we like, right? Number 1 is that it's linked to a service apartment. So Frasers have kept, or Frasers are going to build a separate tower for service apartments in the area. I thought it was very, very smart of them because those service apartments will look into the river. I think they're going to fetch a pretty penny in terms of rental for those service apartments. So the old Zouk clubhouses the old Zouk will then be turned into commercial spaces as well. So I feel Frasers have basically looked at this site and decided that, hey, you know what, we want to have a long-term presence here. We want to keep this in our portfolio. So they are not going to hit and run. And with that, them looking at this as sort of a long-term asset for their portfolio, they're going to look after the place. So the walkways, the common areas and whatnot, of course they won't be coming in to clean up your corridor and your swimming pool and whatnot, but the general vibe of the place will be curated by a professional property group, a big name developer, and so that area won't go run down and just deteriorate into a very cui place, so to speak. So with that is one of the things that we like. Number 2 would be the number of units, 455. But the thing is, for Riviere, the area is important that you have a big development because down Jiak Kim and Kim Seng, the developments there are bigger in size. So you do have to have a decent size as well. If not, you will not stand out from your neighbors. Okay, and so that's very, very dangerous. So I think in terms of this, is at the very least you can match up with them down Kim Seng Road. Number 3 would be its niche product. So Riviere, of course, having that nostalgic factor, and this nostalgic factor will come into play at least for the next 10 to 20 years as my generation grow up, so people will continue to have sort of a nice little nostalgic factor for the address Jiak Kim Street for at least the next 20 years until maybe my son, when they grow up, then they don't know what is Zouk already. But yeah, I think it will still have that nostalgic factor, number 1, and number 2, it being a nice mixture sitting at the curve of the river, basically most units having a view of the river, and being the last residential plot available by the Singapore River. There's a lot of selling points to it. There's a lot of emotional factors attached to it. So even though price is not cheap, and also not exactly the CCR, not exactly District 9, it will still appeal and will still stand out as a product in the future. Okay? So 3 things we don't like, of course, other than the fact it's not actually the CCR, and other than the fact that it's not actually District 9, I feel it's a technicality, something that probably will be forgotten moving forward, because when the people buy in the resale market, they usually don't say, oh, I want to buy in the CCR, I don't want to buy in the RCR. They say in terms of as a general guide in terms of where they want to be, but if let's say you bring them there, they won't say, oh, I only want to buy to the left of Jiak Kim Street and not on the right side of Jiak Kim Street, right? So to that, we wouldn't be placing that as the 3 things you don't like. So number 1, the thing we don't like is the 3-bedroom layout, especially the show flat layout. So I personally feel that layout in the show flat just doesn't really give justice to the sizing of the place. And like I said, I feel the newer generation of products in the CCR will do well because they are more efficient in their use of space. Their layouts are better, but I cannot say that for the show flat layout at Riviere. I think the 818 layout is fine, but the 3 premium layout, the show flat layout, I just didn't feel that it was very, very grand. A lot of wasted space in terms of walkway. There's one bedroom, the one facing the back, that has a super long walkway also. And then the kitchen, it's narrow, they don't have that glass panel to increase the visual space, just very, very narrow. Again, long walkway in terms of the kitchen. And then the living room is a portrait style. So it doesn't really allow a lot of natural light into the space as well. So all in all, not a huge fan of the 3-bedroom layouts in Riviere. Number 2, the facilities and the site footprint. Okay, so because the plot, by wanting to keep service apartments on the site for their own use and for their rental income moving forward, that has caused the actual footprint of Riviere to be quite small. Of course, you compare it to Avenir, you lucky don't need to compare it to Irwell. It's small, okay? I don't even think they can have I don't think they have a 50-meter lap pool. So not the most fantastic in terms of the facilities, and it may feel a bit small, which is why they had to have a lot of facilities on the sky decks, and I think especially on the top end, I believe they have some at the interim stacks as well. So it's more of a lifestyle in terms of location play, as opposed to like family-friendly lifestyle, people that like big areas, function room, swimming pool, blah blah blah, that sort of thing. And number 3, if you go and look at maybe for here, right, I bring you guys to the website, maybe clearer. Let me explain why I feel Riviere, right, the units may be quite dark. I think I need to show photo if not quite hard to explain. Okay, how do I explain? Okay. So first of all, you look at the facade of the place. A lot of the units are actually quite set back within the facade because they want to have this very slick-looking fins-like vertical slots. Okay, so what that does is that pushes the unit back into it. And so a lot of the units are sitting inside the fins, so both the balcony is quite long, and also your bedroom is quite long inside. Don't really have, I think maybe this is the best one thanks to our neighbors at our good friends at Stack Homes. So you notice it is quite a distance, so until the railing just out some more. The facade juts out some more, so it's going to take a fair bit for the natural light to come into your house . This one clear, not so clear. This the 4 bedrooms. The 4 bedrooms is okay because the 4 bedrooms are flush right to the facade of the units, but it's the 3, the 1 and the 2 bedrooms that are a bit set back inside. Okay, so with that, moving on to District 11. Okay, so District 11, I think the most prominent launch over there would be Kopar at Newton. Okay, situated at Makeway Avenue, right off Newton Circus. Developed by CCR, 99-year leasehold, is a government land sale. It was launched in April 2020. Expected TOP Q2 of 2024. Today is already 91.53% sold. Again, launching basically during the circuit breaker, not the most opportune time. Again, a development that is sort of a late bloomer, didn't get off to the best of starts, but you know what, still did well for themselves. I guess they have an abundance of good schools to thank for that. We have ACS Junior, ACS Primary, Farrer Park, SJI, and St. Mark's, all within 1 km of Kopar at Newton. Again, right, scan the QR code if you need more details. So, Kopar at Newton, 378 units with 66 one-bedders, 54 two-bedders, the chunk of the units being 3-bedders, but 3-bedders coming in at, I'm not sure whether this is accurate. Yeah, but they have pretty small 3-bedders. They are 3-bedders compact. 4-bedders coming in at 1,518 square feet, followed by 5-bedders. Price point wise, they have right down to 2,200 PSF, up to 2,008, averaging out into 2,500 PSF. Primarily bought up by Singaporeans, 85%. So this is very, very similar to the percentage we've seen in District 10, only 11% PRs and just 3% foreigners. Okay, now the 3 things we like and don't quite like about Kopar at Newton. The 3 things we like: number 1, the land is basically the old price tag. Alright, just to put things into perspective, the PSF land price, land cost for Kopar is lower than the OCR land cost for I believe Seneca Residences, right? That is going to launch very, very soon. And this is CCR versus OCR. And not that they are very, very far apart, they are quite close to one another. So, Kopar was the sale for Kopar was done in a very interesting period, right after, I believe it was the 2018. It was a bit the lull period in terms of launches or in terms of land sales, 2018 to 2019 thereabouts. The same period of time where Penrose was bought, so the land plots over there didn't garner a lot of bids, so the developer managed to get it at a good price. So even today, the PSF that you're looking at in Kopar and Newton is still pretty decent. And I mean, if you're looking at the 5-bedders, it's 2,300 PSF thereabouts. Very, very reasonable charge. Again, with perspective to the OCR benchmark prices. Right, number 2, it's the number of units. Again, 378 may not seem like a lot, but there's a lot of small developments within District 11, especially in the Gilstead area, Derbyshire area, or even down Newton side. So 378 is considered quite decent for that area. So good transactions, and good number of facilities as well, which is why I have that bonus over there. Not sure if you guys know, if you do analyze the District 11 area down Bukit Timah, the smaller developments definitely won't have a tennis court. So actually having a tennis court over there is quite rare and quite sought after, so to speak. It's not just one client. I believe I've heard like at least 3 to 4 clients mentioning the fact that Kopar has a tennis court, being one of the reasons why they like Kopar. Okay, next up, number 3 will be the entry quantums over there. So the area over here, Kopar and Newton, this Newton Novena area, because of the fact that it is so near all the good schools, the demand is actually very, very high in the resale market. We wouldn't jump into that too much. We have showed you how we will analyze that earlier using the Avenir example. But yeah, the entry quantums is actually very, very sensitive over here, especially for 3 bedrooms, right? Especially for 3 bedrooms. So because the 3 bedrooms over here again are built smaller as compared to the 3 bedrooms in the area, and at a very decent PSF, I believe in the resale market they will do very, very well. Okay, and because you want to buy a 3-bedder there in the resale market, number 1, the supply is not even a lot, and number 2, the price is actually pretty high and coming quite close to where we are entering at today for Kopar already. I think Kopar now also, I don't think got 3 bedrooms left for sale anyway. So The three things we don't quite like, right? Number one would be the traffic noise. I think the one, it's the number one biggest complaint, and perhaps the number one biggest reason why some people totally write Kopar off at the start. They never even consider it, right? Beside the flyover, Newton Circus. So traffic noise like that is something that unfortunately you will have to deal with, unless of course you buy the other facing. Number two, amenities. So this is something that I noticed being quite a bit of a complaint, especially for upgraders that want to move there. People actually are looking at the unit for own stay. So while you may be saying, how can be amenities not good? It's beside the MRT, it's beside Newton Circus, the food center, right? You don't really go to a place like Newton Circus to eat every day, even though I think still quite reasonable in terms of the spread. They don't really have any like supermarkets or markets in the vicinity. So, but then again, this is also quite common in terms of if you want to stay in the CCR, they don't have wet markets. Don't really have wet markets in the CCR to begin with. The supermarkets tend to be a bit of a drive away, but that is a complaint I get quite a lot, because actually if you look at Kopar and Newton, there is quite a fair bit of HDB upgraders or people that move out from the OCR to Kopar, right? People that are very used to excellent amenities, take leave, go down, got kopitiam, got mama shop, can buy things already. Now have to drive to go and buy things, okay? Number three, maintenance fees for small units, all right? So in comparison, so for the one bedder at Kopar, you'll be looking at almost about $400 in terms of maintenance fees. But if you look at Riviere, Irwell, for example, the one bedders over there have a maintenance fee $320, I believe, $320. Yeah, $320, $25 for Irwell, and Riviere is also less than $400 lah. So if you're looking for investment, to buy it for as an investment, that's something that you got to think about. Because high maintenance fees. Because if people compare across the developments, right, they won't care which development has the highest maintenance fee one. So unless you have something extremely spectacular in terms of facilities, while yes, I will admit that Kopar has good facilities, it will not be facilities that are so amazing that tenants will really, you're going to see a huge surge in tenants wanting to rent that place for the facilities to justify the higher maintenance fee lah, right? But then again, which is a bit funny lah, how they have split it. They have made the maintenance fee for the larger units very, very affordable. So your 5 bedders maintenance fee is just $640. So think about it. The 5 bedders are essentially I think the 5 bedders there are 3 point something million, so it's almost like 3 times the price if you can think about it that way. 3 times the price, but they pay $200 more in terms of maintenance fee only, and for $640, it is very close to just like normal 2-bedder or 3-bedder maintenance fee for slightly older CCR condos. So conclusion is, right, you want to buy here and you want to get good value for money in terms of maintenance fee, then you buy the bigger units. But for the smaller units, it's just something to take note of, okay? So why, again, right, we aren't overly concerned with the 99-year leasehold in a freehold area for Kopar and Newton? So for this one, I wouldn't really show you the example. You can check out our video on profitable developments in the CCR. For that, we talked a lot about the example of Rochelle and Newton, even Amaryllisville. So we do have very good backup support, right? Basically guys that have been there and done that and done pretty well for themselves. Actually, that case study that we did, the 99 years in this area actually beat out the freehold developments in this area. So on that note, the 99 years in the freehold area really isn't a concern for us over here. So I think this will be the last development that we are reviewing for today, and that would be Kopar Newton's neighbour over at Pullman Residences. Okay, but Pullman's address would be Danyan Road, developed by EL Development, not what you traditionally will associate with a prime location developer lah. But they have developed developments in the CCR before, right? But smaller developments. Launched in November 2019. Again, a late bloomer. Still blooming because only 64.12% sold. And their expected TOP is Q4 2024. So for Pullman Residences, again, they are within 1 km of ACS, both ACSs and SGI Junior. So if you notice, on the three things we like, we don't put schools there because District 11 and District 10, most of them do have schools, right? So it's a problem if you don't have the school lah, but if you do have the school, it's nothing to shout about, okay? Again, scan this QR code for more details. Now, Pullman Residences, okay, we have 340 units with 108 one-bedders, 114 two-bedders, and 63 three-bedders, and 55 four-bedders over here. They do have quite compact four-bedders offering really good quantums for four-bedders entering into the Bukit Timah stretch, right? Quite a unique value proposition because in Perfect 10, there's no four-bedders, okay? So as a freehold four-bedder over there, it's quite standalone in terms of its value proposition, okay? Average PSF 2006 to 3004, averaging out to 2900 PSF, very, very similar to Perfect 10 and just a little bit higher than Kopar and Newton. Buyer profile 75% Singaporeans, 13% PRs and 10% foreigners, so also a good number of Singaporeans. Now, some people do have a concern about branded residences. So Pullman Residences classify themselves as a branded development in the same tune as St. Regis Residences, Ritz-Carlton Residences, and if you actually look at the transactions and data, if I were the developer, I wouldn't go and compare and say we are in that same league, because if you look at those leagues, they all lose money because they are sold at way too high a price. But Pullman, on the flip side, right, actually is selling at a very affordable price. Of course, if you take into comparison against Kopar at Newton, because this is freehold, Kopar it's 99. Freehold traditionally incurring at least a 20% premium over a 99-year leasehold. So that one doesn't, you don't see it over here. Okay, and so on to the three things we like and don't quite like about Pullman Residences. Number one would be the price point. So like I mentioned, the PSF asking not too high, not 20% more, is actually lesser than that as compared to Kopar and Newton. And of course, if you really want to go and compare out into the OCR and whatnot, you do get actually really good, decent entry prices in terms of PSF into the CCR, into a freehold property. Okay. Number two would be the number of units. Again, 340, pretty decent number of units for the Bukit Timah and also for Newton Novena area. Number three would be the entry quantum into Danyan Road, Bukit Timah Road. This is repeating what I shared, especially for the last session, in terms of quantums over in Bukit Timah Road. Yeah, so that was one of the reasons why we like Perfect 10. Same reason why we like Pullman Residences. It used to be, if you want to address Danyan Road or Bukit Timah Road, right, it has to be a couple of $1 million. Three bedders, maybe $4 to $5 million. Very little one bedders. Two bedders, I think minimally $2 million thereabouts, right? But today, you do get very affordable entry prices because again the products are built and the floor areas are built smaller and more effective and more usable layout. So this is part of the new generation of supply coming into the CCR that's gonna sort of segment themselves standalone as compared to the old supply, and ones that will potentially benefit from the severe undersupply in the OCR that's pushing OCR benchmark prices higher up. So they are actually quite a nice little space over here to have good downside support and strong upside support, in my personal opinion. Not just for Pullman, but actually across the board for the CCR launches, the new batch of CCR launches. The three things we don't quite like would be number one, the finishing. I mean, this one it's not that it's very bad, but it's just that if you visit the show flat and you go like Perfect 10, Pullman and Kopar, you will rank it as number 3 in terms of the finishing. Yeah, it's not, I wasn't really blown away by the finishing, okay, but again, right, not the deal breaker. At the end of the day, price is what matters. Okay, number 2 would be the maintenance fees. The maintenance fees are quite high because they are, again, a branded residence, so you do have to pay for the concierge that comes with a branded residence. So unless you really do utilize it, it's gonna be extra money that you have to spend. And number 3 would be the amenities. And so Pullman sitting on the other quadrant across the road of Kopar and Newton, it's even further away from Newton Circus and also further away from United Square and the supermarkets. I think the nearest one you probably have to walk down across the road to go over to Balmoral Plaza. So again, not the most convenient of places, especially when you're sitting on that side. Again, if you want to drive, you have to exit, hurry up, make a U-turn through Newton Circus, Newton Circle, and then maybe turn back into Balmoral Plaza. If not, you turn left to United Square. But nothing much that you can walk to. But I think the closest one really is the petrol kiosk down the road already. Now for the rankings, right? How would I rank out these developments, right? Both in District 9 and District 11. How would I rank them out? So again, right, in terms of layout, my personal favorite will be Avenir, especially the Avenir. Actually, all the Avenir layouts, if you go to the show flat, right, I'm a huge fan of them. The two-bedder, the one with the kitchen nook, very nice. The three-bedders with the landscape layout and also with the very nice kitchen that opens up an entire side of the kitchen into the living room. Also very nice. They are huge master bedrooms, nice floor to ceiling heights. So honestly, nothing that I will fault over at Avenir in terms of layout. Very nice. Right? Something that you will have come to expect from Hong Leong in terms of utility wise, and for Guoco Land in terms of that little extra oomph, little extra wow factor. Okay, number 2 will be Kopar. So Kopar, I feel they have sort of managed to pull off that mass market yet luxury vibe to the place CL has tended to do this quite well. CL has very good facilities. Just go to Grandeur Park to take a look. We have a unit in Park Esta, right? And not to say Park Esta facilities are no good. I don't think it matches up nearly anywhere close to what CL has done for Grandeur Park. So yeah, facilities are very nice, and I think but in terms of the layout, I think the 2-bedroom layout was done very well. The 5-bedroom layout show flat that if you go and see, I think it's very nicely done. Ensuite toilets, not a lot of wasted space. I think there's only the 1-bedroom facing the back that has slightly longer walkway, but if not, they're all very well designed. Excellent utilization of space. You don't see a lot of wasted space in terms of the layouts over at Kopar. Number 3, right? So I didn't like the 3-bedroom layouts over at Riviere, especially the one in the show flat, but I did like the 1- and 2-bedder layouts a lot because they offered very good a wall-to-wall distance for the living room, especially for the 2-bedroom. I think the kitchen for both the 1 and the 2 bedrooms were really nicely executed with an L shape that you can utilize in terms like a island or a bar, or double up as your dining table. Good bedroom sizes. Again, right? Something that you have come to expect for Frasers, doing very practical layouts, not a lot of wasted space, which is why I was, like I mentioned earlier, disappointed with their 3-bedroom show flat layout. Okay, in terms of location, right, my favorite one, I will rank number 1 would be Irwell, because of course it's sandwiched between the 2 upcoming MRT stations, 9 plots to come up in the future to pull your prices up. Avenir only benefiting from Great World MRT and not near enough to benefit from the Orchard MRT, which is why Avenir loses out to Irwell on that note, right? But of course, Avenir is it's going to be a lot quieter than Irwell. So when I mention this location, it's more of like which location I feel will have a higher upside potential, upside push lah. So Irwell ticks that box there, hence ranking number 1, Avenir number 2. And number 3 that may come to a surprise to all of you would be Pullman, right? So why Pullman instead of Kopar? Because I hate that drive out from Kopar, because you have to drive all the way down and then you turn out, because you cannot turn out straight into Newton Circus, right? You have to drive all the way down and you turn out on the other side, then travel down to United Square, or you turn right into KK, that side. So in terms of location, and if you drive Kopar, it's like you have to deal with the highway noise, but you cannot just hit the highway and benefit from that. Like, you know, if I stay beside the highway, I have to live with noise, but if I drive out, I can straight away hit the highway. So be it lah, but now I have to drive straight up, and that part are always jam on. So on that note, I would prefer Pullman in terms of that note lah, because they are so close to one another. The upside potential that will benefit Kopar and Pullman, I would feel it's very similar on that note. There are still some empty plots around there, potentially to be sold. Of course, not as much as Irwell and Avenir, hence these folks over at District 11 being ranked lower than them. Okay, so I didn't rank them out in terms of investment potential and exit strategy. Why? Because the exit strategy really depends on how long you will hold it out for. So it really has to be on a personal basis, as well as investment potential, because there's going to be different budgets, again different exit strategies and different holding periods, right? So I always will only rank that out for, of course, our clients, people that work with us, because I cannot just give you one answer like that. It may not work for you, right? And that's the main reason why I don't want you to then base off your decisions on what I said, which I may have used different assumptions to derive that conclusions lah, so to speak, right? But if you want our help with that, right, feel free to text us or scan this QR code, and it will very quickly send you a message to us, and we can arrange for a short call together. Okay. So now, importantly, okay, it's how to compare, right? I think the critical thing over here, they all have their pros and cons. But how do you compare them on an apple-to-apple basis? And that, I realize, is a big challenge that a lot of consumers are facing at this point in time. Okay, and of course the next question is, how do we fit them into your plans? Okay, how long will you be staying there for? Is your family still going to grow, right? And what if you reach a point in time, because for a lot of people, they're entering into the CCR, sort of pushing their budget already. So now, will the house fit your family's needs in the next couple of years? Because the CCR, most of them setting benchmark prices, even though they have good, strong resale supply and resale support, they tend to require a slightly longer holding period to see really decent profits. They do make more than the OCR, but sometimes they take longer time to make than the OCR. Okay, and of course you really need to pick the correct ones, right? So then if you want my help to plan or to rank them on based on your plans, okay, once we have figured all this out together, then you can again contact us for help. And on that note, right, today, because we're going to Christmas already, feeling like giving you guys even more. So it's like me, right, the gift that keeps on giving. We're going to share with you what we think about the next upcoming launch. And but then again, right, this isn't remotely close to the CCR. This is probably as far away from the CCR as you would think. Okay, this is Tenet, the upcoming EC launch at Tampines, right? I've gotten a lot of texts asking me about what my thoughts are on Tenet, so I thought, might as well just put it into a video and put it out into the channel, and you guys will know where we stand on this. Okay, developed by Qingjian and Sentali. Qingjian basically a very renowned, I would say, for lack of a better word, renowned EC builders, and I would say I'm very impressed with how they have put off the ECs that they have done, right? Water, Ecopolitan, Bellwaters, Visionaire, right? All done very, very nicely, all doing very well in the resale market. So 10-year, 99 years, going to be launched this weekend, I believe, this or next 1-2 weekends. Expected TOP Q1 2026. So on this note, right, I didn't put this as one of the things I like. So Tenet, and it being an EC, right, they have deferred payment scheme. You can continue to stay in your HDB. If you want to upgrade, right, continue to stay in your HDB and by this, of course, finances aside without paying ABSD. Okay, and so you layer deferred payment scheme, you layer can continue to stay in your house without paying ABSD. That basically shields you from having to go out into the crazy rental market right now, and having then also to incur the high interest cost on the progressive payments that would have been required to pay if you bought any other properties, right? But because of the EC rules, you get to benefit from all of this. So that alone is one of the big things why we would like we like Tenet very much. Okay, 616 units. I think there was a typo here, not Elias Park. Oh yeah, sorry, correct, Elias Park. I thought I read wrongly. I thought Henry Park. Yeah, okay, so it's within 1 km of Angsana Primary and Elias Primary School. If you need more info on Tenet, I won't go into them. If you're watching this video, especially on replay, you probably already know about it and you just want to know our reviews on Tenet. So the 3 things we like and don't quite like, starting with the 3 things we like. Number 1 will be the number of units, 616 units. Decent number of units, plenty of resale transactions coming up during then. I believe 616 is probably bigger than both Trillion and City Life, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, so for those of you who follow, you know how much we like number of units. How much emphasis we put into the number of units within a development. Number 2, low supply. Low supply not just in terms of ECs in general. This year only 3 ECs launched, and Tenet by far would be the one in the most mature location. The next ones being North Kaya and Kopan Grand. Okay, Kopan Grand up and coming, but honestly nothing much there yet. Tenet, even though also in an up and coming area, but well supported by an extremely mature Tampines. Okay, number 1 on low supply in EC island-wide, market-wide. Number 2, low supply in terms of also condos in Tampines, right? Tampines being a mature area has actually very, very little condos. If you exclude away Avenue 10, which to be honest, is super far away from the MRT station, even further away than Tenet. If you exclude away those within, let's say, a 1 km of the original Tampines MRT, use your hand can count the number of condos already. So in Tampines, very, very low supply. Tampines being a mature estate and also having a huge number of HDB upgraders coming in, because that is, I think they are ranked top 3 or top 4 in terms of the number of HDB BTOs coming into a particular town. It's going to be a high demand, low supply dynamics, making the exit strategy very, very safe. Okay, number 3 will be the upcoming plots over at the Tenet area. For that, may we jump again over to the master plan. Yep. Okay, so you look at Tenet over here, there's still going to be 1 plot coming up right next to it, 2 plots coming up right next to it. 1, 2, 3, but this one is going to be a interchange really, so this wouldn't be the case. But I think this one may be temporary interchange because it's still classified in the color as residential, but at the very least, we have this one that's coming up. Again, will pull your price up, and I think the plumbers one of them all would be this commercial development that's going to come up over here. This blue color, yeah, this blue will be a integrated development. Okay, so it's going to be shopping centers, a full-size shopping center, and as well as residences on the top. And so if you want to make a guess, Pasir Ris 8 already got some units hit 2,000 plus BSF. I believe 2,000 will be basically the baseline price for the development over here. So now, if they have a big shopping mall opening up over here, so you're going to have a lot of benefits as an existing owner over there. Number 1, provide you with a lot of amenities. You then don't have to travel all the way down to Tampines Mall anymore, right? Down over here. Number 2, they're going to help you pull up your prices. You're going to look extremely good value for money when those guys come up. So don't have to worry about your $1,300 entry price. So don't look backwards, look forward, okay? Coming back to slides. Right? So now 3 things we don't quite like. Number 1 would be the highway, of course, but I think the developers were quite smart about it. The units that face the highway, no balcony lah. I think they took this idea from Sims Urban Oasis, which is quite clever, right? So it will cater to those people that never opens their windows, and so for those people they'll be okay. But one other thing about it would be and it's something that I noticed at Bellwaters and also at Westwood, and also Ecopolitan, there's going to be a significant difference in terms of the PSF for highway facing units and non-highway facing units. So if you want to buy the unit to make maximum capital appreciation, please buy the one away from the highway. But you buy the one away from the highway, when it comes time to sell, you will need to have a bit of patience, okay? Now, because uneducated buyers, not the sense that they never study, but uneducated meaning they maybe don't quite understand the dynamics of the development, maybe coming to you with what will seemingly look like lowball offers because they are basing their price and offers off the PSF done for units facing the highway. Right? So for units facing the highway, a lot of the times what I visualize the people to be would be low entry price, hit the 5 years, they will sell quickly. So now with those people pulling down your sale prices, right? If I were to suggest the people that are in Tenet, you move into Tenet, maybe don't look to sell directly on MOP. You let the transactions run first, you let the people that are urgent to sell first, sell finish, and then you come back in once, number one, the buyers in the market is very, very clear on the difference in terms of PSF. That difference has been established already, and so that you can then easily justify, and you don't have to waste your time having to explain this to people and then do viewings for nothing. Number two will be the place of worship. Just now when we look at the master plan, bottom right hand corner, there's a place of worship over there. Again, would that be a deal breaker and cause you to lose money? The answer is no, you confirm make money. But if you overlook a place of worship, you just have to maybe factor a slightly longer time to sell. There will definitely be maybe a chunk of people that would not even consider it, because also in the development there is non-place of worship facing units. So those units will have to go, and you will just have to price yourself competitively on that note. In a way, if you choose the unit that is either facing the highway or facing the place of worship, you are more of a price taker as opposed to a price setter. In a sense, not sure if that makes sense to you. Okay, number three will be the short-term typo over here, short-term inconvenience. Okay, because if you go over to the site today, there's nothing over there, right? So, and that integrated development is not launched yet, and I don't expect it to be launched anytime soon. Even if it's launched soon, integrated developments tend to take a long time to build. So I believe by the time that shopping center comes up, I think you may be already MOP already. So for now, you're going to be in an area that, for lack of a better word, is going to be pretty ulu. But I think if you stretch it out over the long term, because TOP 2026 MOP 2031, and so that's going to be at a good 9 years from now, the area will have come up, hopefully. On this note, maybe I can share this analogy with you. You're buying it when the diamond is still rough. You buy in at the price, because today the convenience is already there given to you, it wouldn't be this price also, right? So be patient, deal with it, and you're going to enjoy the profits moving forward. Sure make is just a matter of make how much, like I said. And also because you only can sell 9 years later, so you confirm make money by the time it's another generation already. Okay, Seneca Residences would be the other launch that is coming right up. So I thought just take this opportunity, one shot share our thoughts on all these developments. Located right beside Tanah Merah MRT, developed by MCC Land, not to be confused with MCL Land, but again also a very big developer, MCC Land, state-owned developer from China. Tenure 99 years, launching end 2022 to start 2023 . They had a bit of a hassle previously not being able to get their sale license, but they have gotten it already. So I think they have gotten it, which is why we are already prepping for the launch. Expected TOP is 2027. Number of units 268 units. Within 1 km of Bedok Green and St. Anthony's. Unfortunately, not within 1 km of the Masjid, that is the more popular school in the area. So scan this QR code if you need more details on Seneca. So the 3 things we like and don't quite like about Seneca Residences. Number 1 thing we like is amenities. I actually grew up in Tanah Merah, had secondary school to JC period. I was in the Tanah Merah area. So walking distance to Simpang Bedok, you're also very near to Bedok Corner, 1 MRT stop down to Bedok Interchange. So Bedok Interchange, so Bedok MRT station, you have the shopping mall over there, you have hawker center over there, so plenty of food options. 1 MRT stop further down, you hit Changi City Point, so and Singapore Expo, so you have plenty of amenities around. So that's one thing that's very, very good about the Tanah Merah area. Number 2 will be the transformation associated that's coming there soon. So on the Bayshore MRT side, what used to be the Bedok Corner Guards Camp, that area, all that forest is all gone. We're going to bring in a mixture of, but primarily HDBs and new condos over there, and also an integrated development being planned at the new Bayshore MRT. So while not exactly very near to Tanah Merah MRT, I think that is going to bring some life to. I feel it's a little bit of a sleepy, not sleepy in terms of nobody go there, but in terms of like lack of anything exciting happening in the area. Same thing for Kembangan, Bedok, and Tanah Merah lah, right? So I think that has helped to bring some new energy and new excitement into the area. Okay, number 3 will be the employment hubs. So Tanah Merah, we have Changi Business Park, SUTD, Jewel Changi Airport, the logistics associated with the whole Changi area, Loyang area. So if you are looking to buy it for investment, I don't think you have any concerns with regards to finding a tenant over in Tanah Merah. So now on the 3 things we don't quite like would be the lackluster performance of the developments over there. So the units over in Tanah Merah usually don't yield very fantastic profits. The question is why. The only very profitable one is Grandeur Park lah. And to be very honest, I'm just going to be honest here, I also don't quite understand why Grandeur Park do well, and I know why the rest don't do so well. So on the side of Urban Vista, Optima, they were launched in the 2013 periods. The developers dropped price, hence ruining the PSF trajectory upon TOP. So on that note, I understand why the Optima and Urban Vista developments don't do well. The Glades, big development, actually amenity facilities, very nice, but somehow or other the prices have not yet caught up with the Glades. So, Grandeur Park. So hopefully that transformation over there will help bring up the whole area. So now the curious thing over here would be, would Seneca follow the trend of Glades or follow the trend of Grandeur Park? Right? There's eco behind Grandeur Park. Similarly, not very fantastic in terms of capital appreciation. So that brings me on to number 2, another possible reason why the prices over there is not really picking up as much as, let's say, Tampines, you see very profitable transactions at Tampines, even in Pasir Ris. Tanah Merah by right nearer to town, by right nearer to District 16, District 15, somehow or other don't do as well. Really would be point number 3, the lack of upgrader demand. It's not an area that you just naturally think about when you're looking to upgrade. Okay. Then number 2, there's a lot of condos there, so it's a lot of supply that you have to compete with. So people have a lot of options over there. So high supply, not so much demand, probably would be the single easier way to explain the lackluster performance over in Tanah Merah. So now hopefully that transformation at the Bayshore side will bring new life into here and start to bring the place up, because I feel amenities wise, convenience wise, it's actually a very nice place to stay, but somehow or other the prices aren't quite matching up to the area being a nice place to stay lah. Okay, so with that, we have come to the end of today's live session. As usual, right? We do always have some bonuses in store for you guys if you all would like, right? We have the under the radar, underappreciated CCR properties. So now, based off the research that we do see some opportunities here and there. Like I mentioned earlier on in the video, I feel the Patterson-Leone area, Patterson area in particular, okay, I see a gap forming there, like a sort of forgotten area there that may represent pretty good, decent value for money. And also contrarian property strategies, we are working on the new edition already. But yet again, I think the previous edition will still give you pretty good insights into how to stay ahead of the curve, look into things that people are missing out on. Okay, so feel free to drop us a text and I'm happy to send it over to you. And with that, we end off with a word of advice on how do you go about planning your property purchases and property plan, right? A common mistake done by a lot of people is to come from the outside in, first focusing on the product, okay? Which is again why I didn't rank out like which do I feel is the single best development that, right? I have my preference, there are units that I like, but that's simply because I like it, but I haven't even think about how it will fit in. I like doesn't mean I will buy, right? But what I buy may not be suitable for you as well, because everything then again, we all have our individual whys. Why are we doing this, and what do we have planned moving forward? How are we planning out our exit strategy, our whole property plan? So see that the correct way to do it is to plan from the inside out, and that in that way your property plan is then more secure, more well thought out, and then you don't have to be overly concerned about near-term uncertainties and whatnot. Okay, and of course the important part will be how do you compare out the different products. You first got to establish the evaluation criteria before looking at the products. If not, a lot of the times people then, number one, fall into the trap of FOMO, number two, start to reverse engineer their evaluation criteria to fit the particular product that they want to buy. Okay? And with that, we've come to the end of this Facebook Live session. Yeah, I think shorter than the last time, but still maybe a bit long. But you know what? Let's see if there's any questions. Gerald, oh hi Gerald, long time no see. Nia Sing, see you tomorrow. Tomorrow? Where will we be seeing one another tomorrow? Gerald, yeah. So District 10, right? We talked about the trend over in District 10, yeah. Over here. Okay, how about District 9 properties at Newton, Kopar? It straddles between 9 and 11. Is it District 9 in form but District 9? Wow, that's chima. District 9 in form but 11 in spirit. Kopar is actually District 9, yeah? Kopar is, classification is District 11. Yeah. Not sure if Des is still here, but wow, that's very cheap. I don't quite understand what you mean by District 9 in form, District 11 in spirit. I mean, if you're still here, you want to clarify what that means? Yeah, but hey, you are right. It's District 9. Did I put it under 11? Oh yeah, my bad. My bad. Yes, Kopar is District 9. Yes, District 9. My bad. Apologies on that. Thanks for highlighting that, Desmond. Yeah. Okay, if there are no further questions, thank you so much for joining us in today's session, and we will see you again end December next month. Bye bye.